Hello, my beautiful bookish souls. I hope you're having a fantastic day, month, week, year, whatever it is. I hope it's magical. My name is Bree, and I have got a January wrap up. You know the drill. We're going to crack a cold one, and we are going to yap about some books, okay? Okay. Alrighty. So, little backstory for you. December, I ended up doing a fantasy reread situation, and that was because of Onyx Storm coming out. I don't know about you, but I am not the raw dog type of girly when it comes to a series, okay? I cannot just jump right in. I have to refresh and reestablish my presence within that fantasy world. So that's what I did in December. And because I was just living off of that fantasy high, I thought to myself, let's go ahead and do another reread. So I jumped into ACOTAR and I reread some of those, and those actually carried over into January. So for the month of January, I was able to read 6 books, which for me, fantastic. Love that for her. Let it be known though, like, this isn't a contest. This isn't a competition. When I say that I read 6 books, that's what I read. Okay, if you read 32, go off, sis. If you read 1, proud of you. It does not matter. All that matters is that you are reading, all right? So I hit up 6 books. 4 of them were physical books. 2 of them were Kindle books. I don't know how many fucking pages that is, all right? I just know that it's a lot of pages because there was a Sarah J. Maas book in there. And if you've read any of hers, you know it's thick. It's a thick girly, okay? We've got a healthy mix of mysteries, thrillers, and romantasy. Those are my genres. You give me some crime, you give me some fantasy land, a little bit of fairy schmut, if you will. Give me all of that and I'm a happy camper. So January was a January. She lasted 300 days. We've got some snow. I had a birthday. It was beautiful. Other things happened in the world that were quite ridiculous, but that is a whole different video. However, I was able to get in some reading, and that is what we are going to talk about today. So like I said, I did a whole fantasy reread, and I started off the year with this gem, right? This is the 4th book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR, Sarah J. Maas universe. And quite frankly, it's like a pamphlet in terms of Sarah J. Maas books, okay? I wish I could tell you what the fuck happened in this book, but I can't. I don't know. It was like filler. It was absolute. When people talk about filler books, this was a filler book, okay? I know that there was Winter. I believe Fair did some painting, perhaps. Maybe she did some painting. I'm sure there was all of that going on. Winter solstice. That's what it says in the back here. There was a winter solstice. Okay, if I can't even remember what the hell happened, then it probably wasn't that important. To be totally honest with you. Did I still give it 5 stars? You bet your ass I did. You bet I did. Okay? I love the ACOTAR series in its entirety because it's just one of those beautiful introductory romantasy fantasy just worlds, okay? It's easy to read. You can follow along really well. Sarah does do a really nice job with the writing. The characters that she creates are just gorgeous. I love them all. This book, however, get out of here, girl. Like, you served no purpose for me other than the fact that it was cute. It was cute and it was easy to hold, right? But that was it. 5 stars still. Next on our list, and probably, no, not even probably, it is my favorite of the series. This is what I like to call a brick book. Okay, this is the type of book that you leave at your bedside in case somebody breaks in and you need to defend yourself, right? Because it's huge. It's heavy. She's thick. There's some girth to this bad boy. This is book 5 in the series. And like I said, hands down, my fucking favorite of the entire thing. All right? Reese's Pieces, whatever, step aside. Cassian is in the house. This one is a little bit different than the other books. We no longer get just the viewpoint of Fair and Reese, however you say his name. We no longer just get their viewpoint. This one is actually in the viewpoints of Cassian and Nessa. And I know what you're thinking. Nessa is a bitch. I love that for her. And you're absolutely right. You're not wrong in that description of her at all. But this book will change your mind. The character development, the character arc that she goes on in this book is just extraordinary. I went in completely just blah of her because I didn't actually, when I first read Equitar, I never got to this book. By the time I finished that pamphlet over there, I was like, I'm over this. Like, I was having Fantasyland burnout. So when I read this in January, it was my first time, okay? And I'm kind of pissed at myself that I waited so long because it is that good. It's that good. Everybody loves the second and the third ones, and this is it. This is the one for me. Like I said, Reese, Rice, step aside. Cassian, hold your headboard, girl, has come to the front. All right. And the spice level on this one, I will say, I feel like, to me, it feels a little bit spicier. It's a little spicy. It's a little hot. It's a jalapeno, okay, in terms of the pepper scale. All right. And I loved it. I loved every second of it, okay? And I think she did so good with it. I know some people don't like the book because they don't like Nessa, but this gives you a whole new understanding and perspective of why she is the way that she is. Like I said, the character arc in here, I loved it. It was just, give it to me, girl. Yes. 5 stars for this bad boy. Would I read this again? Abso-fucking-lutely. I do hope the third one or the 6th one is about Elaine, which is the other sister, and I won't say who else I think who her love match, mate, whatever you want to call it, is going to be, but I have my theories. Okay, about who I want it to be. All right. In other news, though, about Equitar, I just learned that Hulu, which was going to be doing the Equitar TV show, has actually dropped it. They're not doing it anymore, which, hallelujah, thank you, Lord, up above. I don't know who decided that, but you made the right choice because y'all were never going to do it justice the way that it deserves, okay? I definitely hope that it gets picked up by either like HBO, Stars, somebody who just has a little bit more budget, who has done an adaptation before or adaptation before. I loved Game of Thrones. I didn't read any of the books. I want to read the books, but I refuse to because George is just, he ain't putting out another book. And how am I going to start a series that has no ending? What am I supposed to do? Just get my pen out and start writing my own version like they did for HBO? I will say a lot of people were disgruntled with that ending. Whatever. We're off on a tangent. My whole point is I hope whoever picks up the series knows, like, you already have a blueprint. Like, there's pages, okay? There are pages, baby, written about what we expect to see, and I hope you stick to that, right? Like, there's a blueprint. There's no need to go off and do your own thing. We have an existing fan base. We're here, take our money, and just run with it and do what needs to be done. Give us what the books have already given, okay? Just make it visual. Just make it visual for me. That's all I need. So I do hope it gets picked up by somebody a little bit better. You know. We did 2 Kindle books this month. I try to rotate back and forth because I have a shit ton of physical TBR, and then I also have a boatload of Kindle Unlimited TBR. So I try to go back and forth between reading a physical book and then reading a Kindle book. So this month we did 2 Kindle books. They're both actually debut novels, and I love that. I love supporting newer authors, and I do feel like Kindle Unlimited does give you the chance to get a little bit more of that like indie new author. And so yeah, if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, I highly recommend you get it. So the first one we did was Fortune, and that is by Ellen Wan Steil. The premise of this book is all about like Midwest secrets. There's a group of girls who used to be friends in high school, and that's where a lot of the plot kind of circles around. A woman, a rich, powerful woman within the town, ends up having I don't want to call it, I guess it is like a DNA blood lottery, so to speak. She's offering people a chance to win money if they come forward with their DNA, and she's doing this in hopes of solving a long cold case. I think it was like 20 some years since the cold case originally happened, and so she's trying to use this DNA lottery to solve that case. I loved the idea of it. I thought it was a really cool concept. We've got this fun like genetic sci-fi kind of vibe to it, very mystery type feel. However, it wasn't very thrilling. We have the 3 main female characters, and unfortunately, when you do not, in my opinion at least, when you do not characterize them enough, give them individual characteristics enough, it gets lost. They get muddled. Halfway through the book, I'm like, whose child is this? What job does she have? Who the hell are you? Right? And I feel like that kind of happened with this book. Not only that, but what did I say? I said in my review, I said the creativity behind the storyline is definitely apparent, but the pacing issues prevent it from delivering the page-turning thrill that a mystery should. The characters get muddled because there are so many, especially the 3 main women. They just don't, I didn't get enough of them to really be able to distinguish each one of them as the story went on. Was there a big twist at the end? Yes. Was it a little predictable? Kind of. It kind of was. It fell a little flat. The characters were just a little underdeveloped. I ended up giving this one only 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't one of those books that I'm like, oh, you did that. You did that, and I love it. So 3 stars for Fortune. So Into the Fall is Tamara L. Miller. I hate to even say this because it was a debut novel, and I love that for her, but I literally had to go back and read the summary just to remember what this book was about, because that's kind of how forgettable it was. It follows a family. There's the mom and dad, and then their 2 kids. They go off to a Canadian like forest park situation, and the mom wakes up the next day and the husband has gone missing. So the entire premise of this book is trying to discover and unravel what caused the husband to go missing. And so we get a dual like a jumping timeline. So we go from the past to the present, from the past to the present. And I don't mind when that happens, because this one did give you a little bit more backstory in the past. It was okay. However, it just was so hard to get through because it felt redundant of what has already happened in like the thriller genre, so to speak. I read a lot of thrillers. I love thrillers. They're my favorite book to read. And so when you have someone like me who has read a lot, it's hard to build a new storyline that hasn't already been done. And I'm not asking authors to recreate the wheel, right? I'm not asking for that. But it's so hard to find a unique storyline that hasn't been done, and if it has, to kind of elevate it a little bit more. And unfortunately, this book just didn't do that for me. It fell flat. The pacing was weird. It felt very fluffy. There were certain things that just didn't need to be in here that it didn't add to the story for me at all. And so unfortunately, I also gave this one 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't fantastic. It didn't take my breath away. It was just kind of mid, so to speak. It felt a little underdeveloped, kind of like the last one. This one is by an auto author for me, which means if they put something out, I am reading it. And that is Riley Sager and Middle of the Night. This one is all about a young man, Ethan, who goes back to his hometown, specifically his home street. He moves back into his parents' house where he grew up. And when he was a little boy, his best friend, Billy, actually went missing during like a little backyard camping trip. So this book is all about figuring out what happened to Billy and where he went. Like, what the hell, Billy? Where are you? You know? Billy! It's me, Jessica. But yeah, like I said, Riley Sager can do no wrong in my eyes unless we're talking about The House Across the Lake, which we're not, and we won't. We won't ever talk about that book. But Riley can do no wrong in my eyes. I love his writing. I love the unique stories that he comes up with. This one is no exception. It has a taste, I'll say, of paranormal. It's not full out there spirits, ghosts, or anything, but it has a little taste of it without giving anything away. I will say, in comparison to his other books, the plot or the plot twist on this one wasn't like mind-blowing, unbelievable, that's not practical, it could never happen. It's actually one that I think happens more often than not. And because it's so mundane, I don't think many authors go with that type of twist, and he did, and I felt like it worked. It worked for this story. I love a suburban drama where everything feels so Stepfordy, but deep down there's actually like major problems, and this book delivered on that. This one was a 4-star for me, and like I said, I loved it. There was a lot of 90s nostalgia in here because, again, we do get that jumping timeline where we're in the past and then we're in the present, we're in the past and we're in the present. And it just delivered. It delivered on all fronts for me, and I love it. I love the cover. I know we're not supposed to judge books by their covers, but the neon, give me a good neon and I'm sold. And so, yeah. Read this one. It was a good thriller. It wasn't like on the edge of your seat, thrilling, oh my god, what's happening? It was definitely more of a whodunit mystery type feel. And with all the fantasy books that I had read for the month, this kind of leveled me out a little bit. One of the most anticipated books of the year, if you are a romantasy fantasy reader, unless you've been living under a rock at this point, you've heard of this book, right? You've seen people talk about it. You know who Rebecca is. She's all over. She is everywhere. She is our dragon mama, and I am obsessed with her. I was first introduced to Fourth Wing last year for my birthday. We do the Barnes & Noble Challenge, and we went, and the very last book I picked up was Fourth Wing. And I'm not usually one to gravitate towards the fantasies. I haven't really dived back into them at that point. And so I grabbed it on a whim. I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. We'll try it out. I bought that book January 20th and I finished it by nighttime January 21st. Less than 48 hours. I devoured the shit out of that book because it was so good. It is about dragons. It's a book about dragons. What did you learn? If you haven't seen that video yet, then you're welcome, okay? But yeah, it's a book about dragons, a war college. We've got our main protagonist, female main character, Violet, who is kind of going through the motions of being in this war college and what comes with it and the consequences of this world that she's in. And so this is book 3 of the series. The first one is like a punch to the face. All right. It is like, bam, right in the face. You get all the good stuff. You feel the tingles. You got butterflies in your stomach reading it. The second one is a little bit more of a world building understanding of what surrounds her, so to say. It's not going to answer all of your questions, okay? So if you're going into this thinking everything is going to be answered, you're absolutely wrong, all right? I did the reread and I still, a few chapters into this book, I was like, who the hell are these people, all right? Rebecca, literally, I felt like I was jumped by like 38 new people. Were they new? Probably not. I don't know. I don't know who they are still to this point. Did I love it? Did I absolutely devour this book? Yes. Yes, I did. Like I said, not all of our questions are answered. We did get a lot of discoveries in this book. We traveled to a lot of new places. Like I said, we met a lot of new people. We have a better understanding of the actual conflict of the book. I don't want to tell you what it is because I don't want to ruin it for you. But the main conflict, we dive deeper into that. The deepest we've gone, so to speak. And I cannot wait for the next books. I feel like the fourth one is really going to give us even more answers to all of the questions that we have, even the ones that have been brought up in this book. The character development that we have gone through, I mean, we have gone from like loving to hating to loving to hating to loving characters again. And it's just because Rebecca has done such a good job of characterizing the main characters. Like I said, we were greeted with a whole bunch of new people in the beginning and people we maybe had forgotten about. But the main squad is so well done. I love every single one of them. There is a part in here that I absolutely bawled my eyes out, okay? We made it a good one. If you know, you know. I bawled my eyes out. But the emotional roller coaster that she takes you on in these books is worth just every single minute. I think the hard part with Romantasy is finding that beautiful balance that appeases both fantasy readers and romance readers. And it's hard to do because in the fantasy world, you have to build a world. You literally have to build a whole new world for people to understand things. And then obviously in the romance world, we want some spice, okay? We want to see a little, you know? And you do get that. You get some beautiful moments between the main characters in this book. It's not completely filled with that. When people called this dragon smut, I was like, where? Like, where? Where is that at? I think we got 2 chapters. We got 2 chapters of sexy time. And I think that's more than enough. I think it's a good balance. Because at the end of the day, Xaden and Violet, the 2 main characters, their little enemies to lovers trope, that's not the main plot of this book, of this series, okay? It's not. That's not it at all. This is about a revolution. This is about a rebellion. This is about oppression. This is about so many more things than just 2 people falling for each other and riding dragons, okay? It's actually kind of diabolical to limit it to just being like a smut book. And honestly, it's like those who get it, and those who don't, well, I'm sorry that you've missed out because it's fantastic, okay? Absolutely fantastic. I don't want to cry, but it makes me so emotional because, like, I remember going to the store the day this came out. It was literally 7 o'clock in the morning. I went to Target because we don't have a local bookstore by us, which is so shitty. So if you can support local, always support local. And then the Barnes & Noble is like miles, like a good 25, 30 minutes away. So I was like, I'm just going to go to Target and I'm going to scoop this up there. And yeah, you guys, there was a line waiting outside the door for this book. Like, to see so many people gathered together, like-minded people, excited for something, it was beautiful. We are, however, not going to talk about the fact that Target completely dropped the ball on their little special exclusive. Like, as you can see, your girlie did not get the special editions. And that's okay because the story is the exact same. But yeah, they dropped the ball on that. However, standing out there with all of those people who are so excited about this, just as excited as I am, this community, flawless. I love you. I don't care what anybody says about you. I love you. All right? So yeah, if you're looking for a series to introduce you to fantasy and romantasy, honestly, a lot of people recommend ACOTAR, and I love it. I do. I really do. But this one, I think, really just touches on a whole bunch of stuff that is, like I said, not even just like a spicy romance fantasy book like so many people think it is. It's about dragons. Like, yeah, it is. It's about dragons and so much more. So if you are trying to get into it, I'll pull out the first one. I got it right here. If you are trying to get into it, get it. Get this because you need it. Absolutely loved it. One of my favorite series that I have read to date. And yeah, all of them, I gave 5 stars to all 3 of the books. And I'm probably going to give 5 stars to the next 2. And I'm going to be absolutely shattered when the series comes to an end. But lucky for us, it is being, there is an adaptation in the works. They better do it justice. Otherwise, we will write it down. Okay? So yeah, that is my hot take on Onyx Storm. If you didn't like it, I don't like you. I'm just kidding. I love everybody. I respect everybody's opinions. But for me, this book, it was good. It was so good. It was like going on a journey of self-discovery as the main character. And another one that has such a beautiful character arc. Great. Love it. Exceptional. She is the moment. She is iconic. She is a legend. All right? You can't do any wrong with her. And then, like I said, if you're trying to get into fantasy, definitely pick up Fourth Wing. ACOTAR is really good. Next month, I'm going to be diving into the Crimson Moth series, which is Heartless Hunter and Rebel Witch. So if you are looking forward to that one, make sure you subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be doing a reread of the first one with the second one to follow right after that. I'm actually filming this right now on, what is today? Today's the 16th. It comes out in 2 days. I have it being delivered to me from Amazon, so I'm so freaking excited for that. Yeah, that is my reading wrap-up. Oops, guys. Hello? Can you hear me? I muffled the mic a little bit. I love his little top there. But yeah, that is it for me today. If you've read any of these books, please drop your thoughts below. Try to keep it spoiler free. That way we don't ruin the experience for anybody that hasn't picked these up yet. If you're looking forward to more plot twists, suspense, and a side of smut, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy reading.